Hello friends, in this video I want to show you how to make an aluminum wire stripper like this one. Why this stripper? In that video where I compare different kinds of strippers, this stripper is the easiest one to make and it's very effective with all kinds of wires. The main issue with the stripper is it's made of wood, so it tends to deform and lose precision. Wood shrinks. Screws get loose, grooves get out of place and get bigger. If we make it with aluminum, it won't deform so easily and it should last longer. Regretfully, it seems nobody sells aluminum blocks like this. So our only chance is casting the parts ourselves. Luckily, casting aluminum is not difficult, as it only requires a temperature of 600 degrees Celsius, which can be achieved with a bonfire, and no need of a foundry. If possible, try to get a gas-fueled soldering torch, because bonfires are very pollutant and are not allowed in many places. If you surround the crucible with bricks, especially refractory bricks, you don't need a very big fire. As aluminum doesn't need much heat, you can use a crucible of copper, brass, iron or ceramics. You might even be able to use a steel teapot like this one. Just check it's not made of aluminum and make a handle for it, because you don't want to grab it here even using gloves. This is the model we're going to use to produce each one of the blocks of aluminum. Although one of these only has a volume of 220 milliliters, 27 centimeters long by 4 centimeters wide and 2 centimeters thick, we need a bigger crucible than that to include the flux and slag which is produced and we must remove before pouring the aluminum. If our mold is of green sand, we can use this block of wood as our model, as there will be no issue in getting the cast out afterwards. To make a mold of refractory cement or plaster, we cover the wood with a stretchable plastic film and hold it well stretched out with Scotch tape. In this case, you will need 2 molds, which you must break to get the cast out. I don't recommend reusing these molds, as we need both blocks to be perfectly flat against each other. These molds have to be dried about a week before you can pour aluminum in them. So if you are in a hurry, you might prefer to make the molds with steel channels. With a 2-inch square or a 2x1 channel, we must cut it to size and bend the ends in to have our mold. I'm going to do this with my regular furnace, not with a furnace of bricks, because this furnace is faster and it will spend much less gas. First thing we have to do is make sure our mold is perfectly level. We should try and get as level as possible. So we fix it on the bricks and we lift up the bricks if necessary to keep it perfectly level. For this size mold, I need 1 kilogram of aluminum. And this crucible is very fast in heating up, but it's much too near 250 milliliters. This mold has 220 milliliters and any possible loss there might leave me without enough aluminum. So I'm going to use my iron crucible, which has 300 milliliters for the aluminum. And I'm going to use a bit of salt to make it more fluid and fills up spaces more easy and fast. Before pouring the aluminum there, we have to heat up our mold and also a cover to afterwards see if we can get it perfectly square. These blocks, I put them there so the aluminum doesn't get through those cracks. We let it cool down slowly a bit and then we'll put water on it so it cools down faster. Then we can take the mold off. To get the block out, we have to pry on these ends to open them up and push the block out. Now we compare the surfaces below each block, and if the surfaces aren't perfectly flat, we will have to flatten them with sandpaper. And for that we need a perfectly flat surface. A piece of glass or a piece of wood should be flat enough for what we need. And we put the sandpaper, start with one that isn't too thick, number 100, and we place it in the widest part. This way we remove any imperfections, a little bit of material there that might be stuck on, and we leave it perfectly level, perfectly flat, so that both coincide as best as possible. This is a procedure that requires much patience. So our first main purpose should be to get it perfect in the cast, not having to sandpaper much. We can go a bit faster with a thicker sandpaper. If we look at this towards the light, we will see that there's a small space between both bars in the center, and there's no space between them on the ends. So that means one of these is lower in the center than in the ends. Another way of verifying this is with a metal ruler. You put the metal ruler on it, and if you see any light coming through, that's the low part. Okay, this one had a shine all over, has a low part here, precisely where there's no shine. So we must reduce this part here till it all shines. The other one that had a reduced part here apparently shows precisely there, light going through. Now we have the surfaces perfectly square there. We have to remove these burrs on the sides there, and we can file it down and polish it later on. But we remove those burrs first, then we clamp them together to drill the holes we need both for the wires and for the guides. Now we finish putting the guides that hold both blocks in position. Now we have to drill the holes for the wires, and those go in this direction, like that, between both blocks. Now these are all the sizes I have, from 1 millimeter up to 7 millimeters. 1 millimeter is very small, and it won't go from one side to the other. We need about 1 centimeter to be able to get it a good hold on the drill, so it won't get through to the other side. Now, we rarely will be using any wire of this width, so we can leave this one out. We should start with number 1.5. Now this one we can get up to that level, and once we get there we can continue down to the other side using this part as a guide for the position of the bit. So we'll start doing the holes now for these. Have to mark them there and then drill them. Okay, here we have all the holes from 1.5 to 7.5. Let's see how, well, on the other side we can see that most of them are centered, came out centered on the line. Just only these small ones are kind of lost their path. Now let's see how the grooves look. have to take the bars out. And got stuck together. And there we have the grooves. Now these grooves didn't get to the other side because, as I said, it's a bit too short. But we can finish this one with a file. Now we have to clean these grooves, file them a bit, because we've got some burrs there. And then we have to do the holes through the top part. The holes we're going to make here are for this bolt. The thread of this bolt, I have to make it with this tap that has 3.5 millimeters inside diameter. So the holes have to be 3.5 millimeters. There you are. A tool, a precision tool made by you for your urban mining of copper cables. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please remember, give it a thumbs up, share it, subscribe, leave your comments, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.